Howdy there, boys. Figured while I got some time, I'll continue my Ram 19 series. Today I want to talk about the engine and primarily compare the 5th gen to the 4th gen, guys. I'm going to try to make this video as short as possible. I'm very excited to do all my testing and share with you guys. As you can tell, Lord help me with this camera work because I am poor with it, but 6,500 miles there. 6,500 miles, and time to share some more info. I did a transmission. Excuse me, hold on a second. Excuse me there. I did a video on the transmission, just briefly underlining the strengths and my biggest concern of the weakness, which isn't too big of an issue. It just needs to get a software update. But watch that video if you haven't. Now let's stay focused on this engine. This video I primarily will focus the 4th to 5th, or should I say 5th to 4th, because we're driving the 5th gen, and I'm sharing the 5th gen experience with you all. That's the whole point of this video. You don't want to watch it? Don't! I don't got a gun in your head. Go watch something else. This video is coming from a consumer, not a salesman, not Ram themselves trying to sell you their product. This is a consumer that uses it. For what it was intended, it's a perfect rig for me. I'm very happy with it. Try to stay as focused as I can, so help me God. I got so much to share, I'm always jumping topics. But anyways, this engine, just from a quick glance, 5th to 4th, so you pop a hood on a 5th gen and a 4th gen, you're not gonna, solely on the engine itself, you're not gonna notice a whole lot. Closest thing going outside of that, you're not gonna notice a lot of differences. Okay. The 4th gen has a smaller intake box, smaller stuff. The engine looks a lot bigger in the engine bay in the 4th gen than it does in the 5th gen. It's not any smaller. It's just the front end on the 5th gen is much bigger, so that engine sits in there lower and makes it look smaller. That's about it visually. And little bits and pieces, let's leave that alone. But an untrained eye and someone that doesn't understand and doesn't know the difference, they're not really going to see a difference. They're going to say that thing's the same exact engine, but it is not. It is not the same exact engine. It is a from the ground up reworked 6.7, different metals, different designs in a lot of cases. So let's run them through them real quick. Unless you're living under a rock, Cummins threw a CGI block in here. So different metals. They threw a different crank. The crank is forged now. The rods, the caps are different. The pistons are different. The piston rings are different. Different piston, different compression. They're running a lower compression. Very much noticeable on low end. This truck builds a lot of boost for low end. On my second day of ownership, I was climbing a hill at 1,050, 1,100. It was putting along just fine, and I looked at everything. I'm like, dude, why are you suffocating yourself? So I clicked the, up button to excel a little bit. The truck didn't give two rat's tails. It just didn't care. Whoop, gave you more speed right there at the RPM that it was at. I'd expect it to downshift. I thought somehow it was on the verge of downshifting and it just couldn't make up its mind. With me adding some more speed, it would downshift. Nope, just gave it to me, and I'm like, okay, I guess you like hanging out low. So anyways, we're climbing a 6% hill right now, and it's pulling at 1,900. More or less, we got an empty trailer. Well, there's a little tractor on there, but I don't know, 3,000 pounds is not really a lot of weight. You really can't feel the difference. So empty trailer back there, that's what it's doing. It's not struggling, it's putting along just fine. We're going through a pass here. Now, the low end, beautiful. Absolutely love the low end on the 5th gens. Man, it's just blowing my mind. I'm going to jump the gun and I'm going to say these words. Don't bombard me for them. But in my opinion, we got a co-pilot, man. This guy's done a phenomenal job keeping Dad company, man. Dave's the man, I'll tell you that. He is a champ. Okay, let's slow down. What was I talking about before I was talking about Dave? Dave does a good job keeping company. I was talking about something else. This engine, the Loen, it does it so beautifully. It doesn't mind. The lower compression really was a good thing. For the first minute when they told me these trucks are running lower compression, I'm like, I guess we'll see. Very hesitant. And then thinking about, it's probably not bad. They're probably compensating with boost, probably. And then when I bought the truck and started driving, I'm like, dude, that was a genius idea. The lower compression was a genius idea. The forged parts, just phenomenal. So what I wanted to jump the gun in, that's what I left off at. Jump the gun in is, in my books, guys. Now, hold on to your chairs, don't fall off of them. I want to call this the new 12 valve. I know, the new 12 valve. Solely from the angle that is tunable or adjustable or adaptable to 12 valve is, as well you can set it up for your own needs. It just, the bottom line, the conclusion on the 12 valve, it has such a depth and reserve of resources. Is specifically what I'm comparing this engine and why I'm calling it the new 12 valve. I was climbing a lengthy hill, 5 minutes straight. It wasn't, hammered to the floor. It was more of a, some like 2,000 RPM for 5 minutes. And this is like after a bunch of little pulls like these, rolling hills and passes. You East Coast boys, some of you might know some, most of you don't. What passes are in some cases. Don't grenade me here. It's just I have a friend. He's from the Midwest. He's not from the East Coast. Sorry. He's from the Midwest. He's like, yeah, I got this, I got that. My engine does fine. I get this phenomenal gas mileage. I'm like, bro, you come out here on the West Coast, you'll see that 8 miles or 8.5 on your Cummins. And yeah, he came out here, he calls me up. He's like, dude, 5 miles to the gallon. I'm like, how about them boys? Yeah, that's what you get with the hills. It really stresses out your engine. Anyways, back to this truck and a bunch of other ones. This truck has a lot of resources. Is it fine-tuned? Engine's okay. I just released a video about the transmission. The transmission's fairly disappointing. Like it was like, come on, guys, what were you thinking doing this stupid stuff? Hardware-wise, it's all there. I can't say Ison screwed up. I'm saying Ram, you screwed up with your tuning. Yes, I know you're going to say, well, Ison tunes it. Well, Ison can only tune what you give them. It has a standalone unit. It takes the info. Shoot, I really didn't want to go off subject, but anyways, I don't think Ram's given Ison enough info that they need when it comes to downshift. Upshifting, they're good. Downshifting, they're just a mess. But I'm just hoping it's a software update. Back to the truck. Back to this engine. So with mentioning what I just mentioned, 2,000, my foot decently into the throttle, and for 5 minutes straight, after a bunch of rolling hills like this, maximum 208 on the coolant. It just got up there and slowly cooled it off to 203, and then got it up again to 208 and just held it there. And then the oil got up to 213 and just held it there. Weight-wise, I was right about 26 gross, and it's what this truck was intended, but we all know the Ford gens would have, with 70-degree weather out there, they would have built some more heat, and it would be going up and down, up and down. This engine fan never hit mid or high speed. I don't think I've ever heard it go into high speed. It always is in low, I'll tell you that. For some reason, that fan always spins in low. But, yeah. So that tells you there's a lot of reserve. The fan not even hitting mid or high. With just low on, it could just maintain 208 on the coolant and 213 on the oil temp. That's it. That's all you got. As far as the underlining of cooling of the engine, just putting it one to one with the statement of this is the new 12 valve, of the depth of cooling, the resources, because I think once in due time and shortly this thing would be 500 horse. I think it could easily put 500 horse down with a little bit more supporting mods. I'd want to see a little bit bigger piping on the intercoolers. That's probably the first thing I would address. Bigger piping on the intercooler so that the airflow is better. For now, that's about it. I know it's a long shot because I haven't tested and now I'm giving advice, but in due time I will personally test the 500 Spectrum. And yeah, I'll keep you updated there. But anyways, I think this engine is a phenomenal engine on paper. Now, practice is only going to show in time. As I've mentioned, it only takes one chain link to rip a chain. So reliability, something goes south, it could take out the whole engine. You guys be raving about the CP4 and all this stuff. I know, raving in a negative way. Let's just hope Bosch learned from the first set, and that's why they're calling it 4.2 or whatever they're calling it, and everything's gonna be fine. Specifically on the longevity, all these hydraulic lifters and all these new metals, nothing's gonna crack, bust, and take out the engine. But the 4th gens have proven themselves, if you take care of them, excuse me, 400,000 or 500,000 miles, you're not gonna have any issues, major. Do the regular, don't be like me, don't get carried away. Always do your water pumps every 100,000. Serpentine belts, just throw a nice Gates. I call it the green Gates belt. There's probably a specific name for them, but just throw it on there, man. You'll be good. I just had a water pump that went out, somehow lost track of it. $500, man. That's what the shop charges to do a water pump. And you boys that done a water pump on these Cummins, you know how easy it is. That's just abuse, but that's what they do to you on the roads, and that's how you learn. And if you don't learn, you'll learn real quick, because you'll go out of business. A lot of guys think the profit margins are crazy on trucking, and oh yeah, the income's crazy and the outcome's crazy. And people are like, what are you talking about? What are you complaining about? Well, I'm referring to the outgo. Profit margins are fairly low a lot of times. There's money to be made, I ain't complaining. But anyways, so on the high end, we covered the fuel supporting it, the turbos supporting it. So yeah, I think we got ourselves a good one. Just we need time for it to prove itself. I think give it a couple years at least. Guys are still going to start really going wild with this, because I'm not the biggest genius, and I can tell you there's a lot of reserve in this engine. That's what made me happy once I heard that they put bigger bolts on the caps, stronger crank, lighter but stronger block. Block was never an issue here, more of a weight issue. Them saying the specs on the heat rejection, I could definitely see it. To warm this thing up to 208, it took hill after hill, and then a 5-minute hill climb at 2,000 RPM with my throttle fairly down. I mean, it was working for 5 minutes straight, and just to get it up to 208 was some time, and I was surprised. So that speaks volumes to me. And I'm not I'm not a tuner, I'm not some kind of aftermarket guy that does a lot of research. Specifically, the first guy that comes to mind is Gale Beggs, man. Mad respect to that guy. I highly respect him. After I followed him a little bit and I see how he does stuff, that's the way you want to do stuff. That's the true way of doing stuff. Not just throwing parts at vehicles and looking glamorous and cool. I like the fact that he pushes things to the next level. I like the fact that he pushes with testing. It's not just a blindfolded push. Yeah, in theory, this should look good. In theory, yeah, just like I mentioned, on paper, this engine looks good, but it only takes one link to wipe out everything. Man, me and my video recording skills. Dude, the scene's awesome out here. You guys seen it through the video. It's nice. Anyways, that's it, boys. I think I got to wrap up my video. Holy smokes, 13 minutes. I try to keep her short, but it didn't work out. I'm very excited. In conclusion, 4th to 5th gen is not the same engine visually. It looks similar, but it's not the same engine. Power alone. If you guys start, more and more you guys are going to start picking up these 5th gens, first thing you're going to notice, just the power band's so much broader, which makes it seem like this truck's so much stronger, but it's not. It's just the power band is brighter, where it's more usable. Well, what are you talking about? This engine doesn't make that much more power than the 4th gens. It's just the way it makes the power, which makes the world of difference. So yeah, that's what you're gonna notice. Also, it has some really good skills of draining your tanks, DEF and fuel tank. I mean, guys, 10.6, that's my average. Let me give you a little bit more informative average here. That's just a blank. So last 1,385 miles, my average is 10.8. From my experience and what I've been doing for the last 1,400 miles, this should have been well in the 12s. So my experience, whatever, take it with a grain of salt. But for you new boys, I've been following testing Ford gens over 1 million miles. I want to see when I can start saying over 2 million miles. I'll do my math. I'll let you guys know. So the Ford gens, with God's help and a lot of testing, we got the Ford gens down pretty good. I mean, over 1 million miles, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure. You don't gotta be too genius to figure stuff out over 1 million miles. You figure out all the weaknesses and everything you need to look for. So anyways, that's it, guys. May the Lord bless you. May y'all have a mighty fine day. If you haven't subscribed, man, we need you to subscribe. We need Paul to focus this. Keep in mind, the way Paul started this channel is being curious. That's it. Paul never really had an idea of doing regular uploads. The way Paul started doing regular uploads is people subscribing. Guys, I got loads and loads of content. I could talk about a lot of things. It's a matter of the moment for me. I'm driving. It's like I got nothing better to do. I'm like, yeah, I got to do a video for the boys. I got nothing better to do, or I'm cornered in a way, But when I'm out there in the field, I don't have enough demand to stop doing what I'm doing and do a video. It doesn't take a lot of time, I know. But the more you guys subscribe, the more the more content you're gonna get. In the comment section also, can you please let me know if you guys want to see big rig stuff? I got this idea to show you guys. We're gonna be building a 600 horse Cummins out of a 400 platform, and just wanted to see who's interested in that kind of video. Anyways, guys, let me know, man. You guys want more content? Just subscribe and ask for it. That's all you got to do. Paul will set stuff aside. I'm very happy. Regular subscribers know I've been going through a lot, but I'm very happy. I'm getting out of it and getting out of it quick. The Lord has been good, and we're resolving a lot of issues. And Paul's just excited to move on with stuff and get stuff going. Anyways, talk to you later. God bless. Bye.